Hello YouTube, Sidekick here. I'm just about to jump into my trusty OV-10 Bronco to go fly a mission doing the work that God, the U.S. Army, and the U.S. Air Force intended the Bronco to do. And that is flying forward air controller missions from relatively unimproved forward operating bases like the one we're just flying over now. Today the island of PAGAN, I hope I'm saying that right, in the Marianas, is standing in for the jungles of Southeast Asia. As you can see, the OV-10 is warmed up and ready to go. So let's go take a look at the mission that we're going to be flying today. Okay, here's the mission briefing. As you can see, as I said, we're at FOB PAGAN. We're flying an OV-10 Bronco. We're armed on the right-hand side with WP rockets and on the left with HE rockets. But really our mission is going to be to find some enemy bunkers under the jungle, mark them for call sign Switchblade, which is a pair of A4s armed with Mark 82 bombs. Once we mark the target, Switchblade's going to come in, engage the target, and then we're going to go find another one. And ultimately, each of the pair of A4s and Switchblade will give us 2 runs, so we're going to get a chance to find 4 targets. So why don't we hop in the Bronco and get this party started. Alright, here we are in the Bronco, just checking to make sure that flaps are in fact down 1 notch. As you can see, the airstrip here definitely qualifies as unimproved. We're just taking off on the grass. On the map, it's actually marked as a closed airstrip. It's almost long enough for us to take off with this payload. We get a little bit of room to spare, but we're going to make sure we use the brakes at the far end, get her up to full speed before we let go, and then we're just going to get down the runway and keep watching that airspeed indicator and hope that we get to the rotation speed before we run out of room. And we do. And we're airborne, and we're getting our check-in message from Switchblade confirming that there are 2 of them and their armament, and that we have about 15 minutes to complete the mission. So we get the gear up and the flaps up, and we'll just start our climb out here. Our insurgent bunkers are all going to be on the north side of the island, although we don't know where. The basic idea in this mission is that the bunkers will appear at a random location. We will have to go find that random location. As soon as we fire a smoke mark, one of the Switchblade aircraft will see the mark and will start its run. Now, the only issue that you have to be very careful of is that if you fire 2 smoke marks, then both aircraft will actually come in on the run. That's just the way it's done. Did this all automatically instead of using the radio menus just to make it easier, and because the Bronco doesn't have a fully functioning radio, but I think it works pretty well this way. So we're getting up to about 2,000 feet, pulling back on the power, starting to take a look at our area of operations there. So the Switchblade is going to be off to the east there, so out in the direction that we're facing now, so we'll be looking into the sun to try and see them. It actually works pretty well because we get a nice black dot against the bright sunshine, so I actually find this works pretty well. Okay, we have got our gun sight on. We've set it to plus 28 mils, which from some reading I was doing is what combat pilots in Vietnam used to use. And we have armed the white phosphorus 2.75-inch rocket pod on Station 5, and we put the master arm on. Now, we're just looking for a target. And yes, down under the canopy somewhere, there is in fact a bunker complex. Usually we see it because of a flash of white. I actually put a bunker in there that is bright white, because I'll tell you the honest truth, without that in there, it's pretty hard to see. Okay, I think I've found him. Yep, there it is. See the little flash of white? That is going to be our target, so we just need to shape ourselves around here. And when we're in a good spot, we're going to roll over, put the top of the canopy on it, roll out with the sight coming up to it, and fire a mark. And lead has the mark. And here he comes. Looks like he means business. Now, we need to take up a position here. This is the thing that I'm still learning exactly how to do right, is where do you want to put yourself so that you can actually see the strike aircraft coming in, and then also be able to see your target, be over the target when the bombs arrive. So, seems like, and this is again from picking up from some reading, that what you want to do is kind of do a figure 8 pattern back here behind the target. Where you can see the target, you can also see out the direction you expect the strike to come from. So we're looking out there towards the horizon to see if we can see him coming. We can't see him yet. Then we're going to swing around, go back the other direction, and keep our eyes peeled on the horizon there and see if we can pick up a faint little black dot that is going to be our strike aircraft out there a couple of nautical miles. Your eyes peeled, he's out there somewhere. You can see the target there in the foreground, so we know where that is. Okay, I think I see him. Yeah, pretty sure that's him out there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn towards him. Now I'm not worrying about the target because I know that he's aimed at the target, so I won't lose the target if I follow him in. Okay, so we're just going to go out here straight out towards him, and as he goes by us, we're basically going to do a rejoin on him as he goes by. And we're going to basically fly in on his right wingtip as he goes over the target. Just got to figure out how to time this right. He's going by and we're going down. And there he is. Alright, so we just got to keep flying in formation. There he is. And we're just going to curve around the back of the target as he drops his bombs. There, he's got bombs away. We got eyeballs on the target. Nice. That looks like a pretty good strike. Now, once again, the declaration that the target is dead. This mission is automatic. Not going to be left to your own eyeballs to do that, just the way the mission was designed to work. So that's target number 1 down. And now we need to find target number 2. Anywhere around this northern side, all the way from over there past where we just came from. We're just going to keep our eyes peeled. Now, depending on your graphic setting, this may be... there's the notice that the lead is going back to his station. So we got another run from him to come. Depending on your graphic setting, this can be easy or hard. Tends to be the higher graphic setting you use, the harder it is. On lower graphic settings, you may find that the target actually draws in before the jungle does, and then it's pretty easy to see. So you may find, particularly if you're flying in VR, that it's not too much of a challenge to find the target, but I think part of the fun is to fly it in the high graphic settings, because you really will have to strain your eyeballs to find it. And you will have to fly back and forth and use the sun in different directions. Now, I think I've got it. Just coming around here to try and confirm. You definitely will find that the shadows and the direction of the sun will make a big difference in your ability to keep eyes on the target. Which I think is sort of half the fun of this mission. It's not really about delivering ordnance accurately. Alright, there it is. Did you guys spot it? Haha. Not very easy to see hidden in the jungle, this one. Alright, there's another mark. So the trick is to mark the target accurately, because the strike aircraft will bomb your mark. They're not going to bomb the target, they're going to bomb your mark. So if your mark is off, you won't actually kill the target. Now we take a fairly generous view of what a Mark 82 will do to the target, and I think that's pretty fair. So you don't have to get super close with the bombs, but you do have to get close enough to kill the infantry in the area. So once again, we're flying up behind the mark. Just going to come around here, fly back behind the mark in a parallel direction that's north-south, so that we can look out to the east and try and find call sign Switchblade 2 that's coming in on this strike. Again, he's just going to be a little black dot somewhere below the horizon. And I think you see him, so I'm curving around again. Going to go out straight towards him. And then basically do a wing over and come in beside or behind him as he comes in. So just give ourselves a little bit more room. I think I was a little bit too close on the last one. Here he comes. And we just got to time it right. I'm going to let him go a little bit further by, then I let lead go by. See if I can get a slightly better position here. Alright, here he goes. Here we go. Hard to keep him in sight as we go through that wing over. That's almost the hardest part. Make sure we see the target as we come up. So we get oriented, we know where we're going. We got him in sight, we got the target in sight. He's dropping. We're headed for the target. And once again, that's looking like a pretty good mark on the target. And confirmed that that is in fact a kill. Alright, 2 down, 2 to go. Gain some altitude back here. Now, I will point out that although it has not happened yet, the bunker complexes will shoot back. The AI level is set to random, so you can never really guarantee just how good the gunners are going to be. So you don't want to get too low. So this does sometimes become a little bit of an exercise of how low do you fly to actually see the target versus keeping enough altitude to stay out of trouble. Now, the bunkers have nothing beyond essentially their own small arms, although some of that might be 50 cal small arms. So it's plenty enough, you can take my word for it, to bring down a Bronco if you give them a chance. Oh, that one's almost out in the open. So it's plenty enough to take down a Bronco if you give them the chance. The trick is to fly these approaches in such a way not to really give them too much of a shot. Okay, so lining up on number 3. This one's fairly easy. Nice long run in, though that can be dangerous too if the gunners are awake. Don't seem to be on this target. That looks like a good mark and a pull-off. And once again, we're going to turn back to the west here to put ourselves behind the target. You have to make sure you stay aware of exactly where the volcano is. If you fly low enough, it can be an issue to get up above that in the Bronco when you're pulling up. Okay, so once again, we're going to go out here behind the target. We're looking out to the east. Can't tell exactly where the strike aircraft are going to come from because they're orbiting out there. So they will come from a slightly different direction each time. So, you know, one of the challenges I find in this mission is actually to try and make sure you get to see the strike aircraft and to actually get your do the run properly so you can actually observe the fall of the bombs. That's half the fun here. Okay, no sign of the striker yet. I know he's out there because he said he's on his way in. I do not see him out there. So the strike aircraft will call in at a range of somewhere around 2 nautical miles. It sort of depends. So you'll know that you're within 10 or 15 seconds of the bomb drop when you get that message. So if you haven't seen the striker before then you basically switch your attention back to the target and see if you can pick him up as he comes in over the target. Now, in real life, you might actually wave the striker off if you don't pick him up before you see him coming into the target, especially if there were troops in contact around, but we're just going to let it go this time. We'll assume that the mark's enough. Okay, haven't seen him yet, and we're getting the in message, so let's just get ourselves set up to orbit the target. Oh, there he is. See the little white down there. He was down we're up pretty high this time. That was the issue. And we still got a good view of the target as the bombs go down. That looks like another good strike to me. So that would be 3 down, 1 more to go. Let's go back up again and start searching again for the target. We'll have to see a little bit. I find that with the sun coming from the east in the early morning here, that putting yourself between the targets and the sun is the best way to find the targets, especially since you're looking for something bright and white. Okay, lead is Winchester, so he's done for the day. Is that it up ahead there? Sometimes it's just that little piece of white that is the signal of where the target is. We'll have to go over there and take a little bit closer look. If you are having real trouble finding the target, You will be able to find the target on the F10 menu. And there he is. Just barely see it. So if you have spent too much time looking for the target... Oops. This one's a live one. I pull up. I don't think I'm checking the engine gauges. Doesn't look like we took any irreparable damage. I think we might have a few holes in the tail, though. You get around behind the target, start looking for call sign Switchblade 2. Last run of the day. Here he comes. As I was saying, if you really can't find the target, you can always go to the F10 menu, and it does come up on F10, so you know at least where to start looking. Okay, so standard procedure here. We're flying around behind the target. We'll come around, do our figure 8 behind the target, start looking out to the left once we get all the way around. So this is an excellent opportunity to fly the Bronco and really have to have your attention outside the cockpit. You don't get to spend a lot of time looking in. Okay, 2's in. I don't see him, so I'm just going to orbit the target. Let's keep the target in sight. Hopefully we'll see him as he gets closer. Yeah, really not seeing a lot of them this time. Okay, we'll just keep the target in sight. We know where he's headed anyways. Here he comes. And there they go. Oh, there he goes off to the left. I saw him just as he was dropping. And once again, looks like a good accurate drop. I'm going to assume that we got the bunker, and we did. So, 2 is going to go off, and he's going to call Winchester in a minute. And the only thing left for us to do is to try and get back on the ground on our itty-bitty little airstrip down there at PAGAN. So let's finish off this mission in fine style by putting the Bronco on the ground in a nice stall landing. So we're up pretty high, but we'll be able to lose that altitude pretty quick. Just get ourselves sort of rounded out here on a nice left base. And we can drop the gear at this point and get the first notch of flaps down. And we're going to be bringing our speed back. Once the speed gets down to about 120, we'll be dropping the second row of flaps and turning in on final. And we've got the power all the way back, and we are coming down like an elevator. Get ourselves lined up on the open spot there and start jockeying the power up a little bit. Nose up. Don't need to get fancy, real fancy with a flare. Really just want to kind of drop it in. We're just going to make sure we drop it in somewhere dry. And we can stop at an amazingly short distance, especially on grass. I'm not going to worry too much if we overshoot a little, as long as we just get it on the ground, and then we'll get the reversers in. And we're down. Get the thrust reverse on, start adding a little bit of brake. And we are going to be stopped in plenty of time. Piece of cake. Well, there you have a mission. It's called Whack-A-Mole. It's on my Discord server. And you can, I may post it on the ED files as well, but for now it's definitely on my Discord server. Come on by to the Discord channel. The link is in the description, and pick up a copy. I think it's a fun little mission. Won't take you very long to fly. Fair amount of replay value because of the random positions of the bunkers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I hope you get a chance to try the mission. For now, this is going to be Sidekick, signing off.